Welcome back to PWC, the Personal Watercraft Show. I'm here at Peter Stevens with Kevin, and Kev, we're going to have a talk about choosing a PWC. Now, there's lots of different makes and models. Tell us a little bit about choosing one for the first time.
Okay, there are a lot of different skis on the market, but they're basically split up into two different types. That's 2 and 3 seater.
Okay, now what does that mean, a 2 and 3 seater? What's a 3 seater? Obviously you can fit 3 people on it,
Yep.
but what's the difference?
A 3 seater is more stable usually in the rougher water, and also allows you more choices and more variety. So if you want to take family out water skiing and tubing, you definitely need a 3 seater by law.
If I want to tow somebody, is there a specific horsepower range that I have to have, or what happens there?
Okay, if you're going to tow, you definitely have to have by law a 3 seater.
Yep.
And all the jet skis have the power to tow a skier or a tube. So you don't have any problem with the power. We must make sure you have a 3 seater.
By law, do you have to have someone sitting on the back?
Yeah, the idea of a 3 seater and why you have to have one by law is you always have to have a seat available for the person in the water and an observer on the back of the craft.
Yeah, right.
So the person on the back of the craft needs to be facing the skier or the tube in the water.
And a 2 seater, is that more of a sports type model, is it?
Yeah, usually the 2 seater is a more aggressive turning type craft,
Yep.
and for a different use. So, and the uses are quite vast.
Okay, so what would I use a 2 seater for?
A 2 seater is something you might want to hang around on the beach and have a bit of a fun, and you'll air up and down.
Yep.
And turns quite aggressively.
Good for jumping.
Absolutely good for jumping, nice and light, and not quite as stable as a 3 seater, but for a lot of fun.
Now, Kev, is there a difference in the power of these watercrafts?
Yeah, there's a big difference in it. They start at about 110 horsepower for the basic model,
Yep.
and move up to about 260 horsepower for the supercharged ones.
That's a big difference. Now,
Yeah.
we were talking before about 2 and 3 seaters. Does that mean the whole range of 3 seaters and 2 seaters are in that category of power?
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. You can get a 2 seater with a smaller motor, or
Yep.
also with the bigger, more powerful version.
Now, mate, who makes these sorts of personal watercrafts?
Okay, well the market's dominated by the Japanese manufacturers.
Yep.
And they come straight out of most of the motorcycle brands. So you've got Honda, Yamaha, Kawasaki,
Yep.
and also Sea-Doo. And Sea-Doo is probably the larger of the group.
It's very much like a motorbike on the water, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Well, mate, there's a lot of people that make these personal watercrafts. What's the difference between them all?
Between the different brands, they're very similar. Sea-Doo is probably the major difference. It
Yep.
has a different water setup for the engine, and it's quite different to the others. Other than that, they're all very similar. They all sit in the water, prepare you along, and give you a lot of fun.
When I'm choosing a watercraft, does it really depend on price, or does it depend on make?
The thing you should be looking at when you buy a watercraft is determine what you're going to use it for. Is it for the family? Is it for you alone? Are you going to ride in the big ocean, or just have fun on the beach?
Is there one that caters for all of that?
Yeah, they all can do those tasks in
Yep.
different ways.
Okay.
So some are better at things than others.
Now, mate, we spoke about design for a lot of the personal watercrafts. Tell us a little bit more about that design of the boat. Is there a big difference?
Actually, all the manufacturers do have their own hull and designs, and they all have different ride characteristics. So again, if you're going to be looking at riding in the ocean, open water, big swell, we want to look at a craft that's very stable and handles that well. And some manufacturers do that better than others.
Okay. And again, how would I find that out?
Again, you need to really call into Peter Stevens and talk to some of the people. They will
Okay.
run you through what craft is stable, where it's best at, and where it has its shortcomings.
Now, I've got a family. I want to get the family out there, but also I don't mind a bit of speed. So would I be looking for something that's cheaply priced, or what sort of jet ski would you recommend to someone like myself?
Okay, if you're going to involve the family, invariably you're going to need a 3 seater. You're
Yep.
going to want to tow the kids, have a bit of fun, something that's reliable and has a bit of storage space. So we'd definitely be putting you on a 3 seater.
Now, when you're saying storage space, does every one of them have storage space? Does that mean I can put the family barbecue in there? What does that mean to me?
It's funny you say that. We actually have had the family barbecue in some of our skis. There are variations on storage size.
There is,
so when we've done some of our longer trips, we need to store lunch and food and a lot of gear to get there. And if you buy a ski that doesn't have that storage gear, you're going to be limited in what you can do.
If I was getting into the market and going out and buy a jet ski, what's some of the things that I should do beforehand? Is there websites that I can look at? Is it just pop into Peter Stevens and talk to some of the staff? How would I go about buying one? It's sort of not like out buying a car. I think it's a lot more specific than that.
Yeah, I think what you need to do initially is go and visit your local dealer.
Yep.
Discuss the jet ski range with them and just start getting a touch and a feel for the craft. That's the
Okay.
most important thing. and then start thinking about what you're going to use it for.
All right, and really when you're saying using it for, if you're a single family or you've got a girlfriend that you think might want to get out and have a go as well, that's really the choices that you want to be
That's
looking
exactly it. Some people come from a motocross background, as do you, and you might want to get out and jump some waves out in the ocean. So that's an important part of what you would use it for. Me, I'm looking for the touring, where I want to get the watercraft out and go for a long distance and visit islands and little nooks and crannies. So I would have to have something different to you.
Well, that's great advice, Kev. Thanks for all of that, but I really want to know, what's the price range?
Okay, the basic ski started at about $12,000, all the way up to about $28,000 for a ski with a supercharger, GPS, depth sounder, towing gear, all sorts of things. So 12 to 28 is your price range. The only extra would be a trailer. And you're going to need a trailer.
Of course.
Unless you've got a strong back.
So they don't come with trailers?
No, they don't.
Okay, and that can be obviously part of the package as well. What am I looking at for a trailer?
I think a trailer is about $1,500 as a guide.
Okay.
And the reason why they don't come with a trailer, there's a couple of different types, and some people have their own favourites, and that's why we package them separately. Very cheap motorsport.
All right, Kev, thanks very much. That was some great information, but if you want to know more, just pop into any Peter Stevens or look them up on peterstevens.com.au. It's time for a break. We'll see you right after this.